Welcome to the Throga channel. My name is Richard.
And my name is Johnny.
I'm getting really good at the pointing side. I know where you are because you're not there.
What?
But on screen, you're there. And this is work to think of where you are.
I think I got it by now. After like 100 videos, I'm good to go.
Pretty much. Today is a special day. This is our very first Join the Reaction. Reaction?
Yes.
Yeah, so Join the Reaction. I think I said
We'll work
it right.
on the title, but yes, that's
Yes.
it. That's it.
So we put out a contest asking all of our reaction subscribers to go through a scavenger hunt to find all the videos that Shirley Jones was in. We had many amazing people take the time to dig through the videos and find them, which we greatly appreciate. And we have the winner with us today. And you're not going to believe this, Johnny, but they chose a BTS song. Can you believe it?
That's really strange. Shocking.
So we're very excited to bring Saya in. She's the one who did the scavenger hunt, and she also brought in a friend, Paroma. We're going to find out if I said the names right very shortly. Hopefully this is not a Brigitte situation. We get it correct the first time. So without further ado, let's bring in our Join the Reaction contest winners.
Hey,
Hello,
guys.
ladies.
How's it going?
All right, how'd I do on the introduction? Did I get the names right?
Yes.
9.9 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
I'm a cruel marker.
So you are the first one to find all of the Shirley Jones videos. So thank you for your time and dedication for that. That was amazing. So where are you located?
I am in London, in the UK.
Wonderful. And you brought your guest, Paroma.
We have a podcast together that we've been running for 6 years now. It's on Korean entertainment, but primarily Korean dramas.
Oh, very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Saya, I found Saya under a Amazon review. She had written this book review at one point and commented under it, and there a beautiful friendship bloomed.
Oh, that's
The
The book's
awesome.
about
That
dragons,
means after
and
a
I
while.
hate dragons.
That's super
mad.
cool. So you both have a love for Korean pop music then. That's kind of where that collaboration for the podcast came
Not
from?
exactly. I have a history of dragging Paroma into my rabbit holes. So she started watching Korean dramas because of me. And then last year, as I fell into the BTS rabbit hole, I was like, Paroma, come with me. I can't do this alone. I need
Yeah,
someone to
you
share
need a
my
team.
reactions with.
You do need a
need a team.
team, yes, as we've discovered. So what did you choose for your contest winnings?
First, can I say how difficult it was to choose? Because I wanted to choose like 50 things. And for your listeners, some of the candidates were like the Busan concert opening songs, the proof showcase, even carpool karaoke, which was like my gateway. There was just so much to choose from, and it's very difficult to choose just one. But because I have actually watched all of your BTS reactions plus several of the other ones, first you were introduced to them as solo artists.
Right.
So it seems to me that from the way that you've discussed them, I got the sense that maybe you saw them as already being these very accomplished artists who somehow came together. But that's not how it happened. Half of them, when they came in, they knew nothing. They just began as complete newbies.
And we didn't pick that up until we watched
The
Taylor
documentary.
Murray's,
Yeah.
the guide to BTS.
Right.
Then we started to kind of see, oh, that's
Yeah.
how they started to form.
So what I picked was the debut showcase, which is literally the very, very first public performance that they did. It's not even on their official debut day. It's from the day before, so it's not
Oh, wow.
from the 13th of June. It's from the 12th of June. It was aired on TV, I think, on the 13th.
What
and,
year?
you know, Army's correct me if I'm wrong, 2013.
2013.
2013. Wow.
It's kind
yeah,
of
so
perfect,
they-
though, because we just watched the MMA 2019, which is 4 years ago, of course.
Insane.
But that's
It's absolutely
Yeah.
insane.
It was.
mind-blowing. For you to select something that's their very first showcase is actually super cool. How many songs are in this?
It's 2 songs, and they're sandwiched around a mini interview. like a very small interview where they
Okay.
introduce themselves and they say their ages. Is this
Okay.
the time to tell you about Korean age and international age?
The year that they're born is different than the age that they're referred to?
Korean age is when you're born, you're 1 year old. 1 year old.
Oh,
1 year,
okay.
1 year old. And then when the new year turns, everyone goes up a year.
Oh, so it's not a full year difference. It's just the
That's right.
reset of the new year.
Birth year. Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
So age
So,
goes
so
by
in
birth
our
year
age,
plus-
in our age-obsessed society, I don't think they like that at all. We're always like our society. They're
Take a year
trying
back.
to be younger. Yeah.
They're phasing this
few months
out now. Yeah, so now you have, you even had some of the BTS members being like, oh, okay, so I get a few more years for my 20s now.
Right.
So bear in mind when you hear them in the interview and they say their age is -2 from it. That's
Yeah.
the real age.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Before we begin, Johnny, cue.
Yeah, we're gonna remind everyone. So okay, when you point down, it's still down. So,
Yes. Okay. Yes. So down is still down.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, just want to remind everybody to hit like and subscribe and ring the bell so you always know what we are up to.
Absolutely. And be sure to check out the description below as well, please, where you can visit our website at Throga.com. You take a free vocal assessment to learn more about your voice and learn more about private singing and songwriting lessons with myself or Johnny. And here we go.
All right.
It's 10 years ago.
To all the youngsters without dreams.
This is the name of the song.
That's the name of the album.
Name of the album.
So, Too Cool for School is the name of the album, not the
Mini
actual
album,
song?
Yep. No.
Okay.
The actual
Okay.
song is what's coming up on the title card just there.
Okay. Got it.
Which is We Are Bulletproof.
Part
It
two.
says part 2. Is there a part 1 or does they start with part 2?
Okay, so how this works is, and I am very 100% open to being corrected by people who know rap better than me, is that
Which is not us.
Sugar and RM had a song that they had written years earlier, which is the Bulletproof Part 1, but they will often revisit a concept and that will become a part something later. There's
okay.
also We Are Bulletproof Part 3, which was a more recent song and it's completely different. And for example, you know you did Jimin's song Set Me Free Part 2?
Yes.
So that's like a spiritual sequel. It's not a sequel, but they're kind of continuing those themes from
That is
a
very
song
cool.
that Sugar released, which was a Set Me Free Part 1. Well, it didn't have Part 1 on it then. But that's how that works.
Okay.
They're like thematic callbacks.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
긴장했다 급한 대자 We are bulletproof We are bulletproof What's up? Bulletproof 이름은 정국 스케일은 전국
They're babies.
I know.
노래 불러내 너희가 놀때난 꿈을 집도 하며 잠을 참아가며 매일 밤새 볼때를 잡네 아침에가 뜨는 뒤에 난 눈을 감네 이중 잣대와 스파난 반대 속에서 부셔버린 나의 한계 그에 반해 재수족해 회사에 컨택된 속칭 노래 못해 래퍼를 당한 너희에게를 바라는 타이틀을 쌓지 Everywhere I go Everything I do 나 보여줄게 칼을 갈라왔던 만큼 날 무시하던 많은 사람들이 이젠 oh 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 We shout it out 나같이 해봤다면 돌을 던져 We go hard 우린 겁이 없어 Click click bang bang We just sing it like Click click bang bang We just sing it like 나같이 해봤다면 돌을 던져 We go hard 우린 겁이 없어 Click click bang bang We just sing it like Click click bang bang We just sing it like
So I want to comment on the evolution of style, like just the clothes they're wearing from where they're at now, even in 2019 to where they started. It's definitely a little more flashy back then.
It is.
A little blingy.
Probably rooted more in
Yeah.
the hip hop influence,
Yeah.
right? I would imagine.
Yeah.
It wasn't just influence. They debuted as a young hip hop group. So it reflects in everything, their attire, the way they hold themselves. Like backstage, you would see like a softer version of them, but on stage, they're like this, hard-edged, I don't know, rockers.
So
Yeah.
being a showcase, did they have anything on the radio or out there at all at this point? Or are the people there just brought in to experience a new band, or are they actually fans at this point? Do you
This
know?
is their
There are
first.
fans.
So they had this, like, and K-pop does this generally. They do pre-debut promos. So each member had been introduced one by one with, like, their
okay.
photos. And the other thing that BTS is quite unique for is that they interacted directly with people.
We learned that too. Yeah.
So they had a blog, they had their own Twitter account, and this wasn't a thing back then. And this is because they were from a small company. They're literally the only band under their company at this point. So they don't have the networking power that groups from what is called the Big Three, the other entertainment companies, would have had.
Sure.
So they had to sort of be more creative about how to stoke up interest. And so they did have fans. I think they recalled, I was just, so as I am a nerd, I did study up before this, and I was rereading the beginning of the book where they talk about all of this. And they recall, and it's not actually for this performance, but for the first music show performance the next day, like one row of fans.
Wow.
And that they remember that one line of people who were cheering for them, who had come for them, because this hadn't happened for them yet.
Yeah. It's a whole new experience. By the way, this channel celebrates nerds, so you are among friends. So, all right, let's keep going. This is very cool. Oh, is that where this sign comes to from this song?
So
The
this
bulletproof?
is like their group sign. This is the We Are 방탄소년단.
Okay, but we
what's-
asked about that in the last one, because I asked about that, and there were a bunch of comments they were saying it's like it referenced to bulletproof, but also the number 7, like upside down or something. There's some different theories.
That's what Jungkook does now for his 7 single. But that is the group. Every group has a greeting. So
Johnny and I
there's
have a
like-
group sign. It's really lame. Hi.
Is that for throwing?
That's all we got.
Culturally, like greeting is very important in Korean. It's called like insa, and so whenever they meet people, when they meet seniors, they have to like greet them in an appropriate way. So there's a group greeting, and you'll see this. I think it will be at the beginning of the interview where they will do the greeting. And it's always the same. And they do it for their whole career. Like, you can see them doing it now, and you can see them doing it then. It just gets softer over time.
Look at my profile. 아직 아무것도 없대. Still young, stick, and rapper man. Yeah, I don't know, that's nothing. Go me though. 하지만 이제 필요 없어졌지. 난 아직도 아마추어, 난 major. 쭉 그렇게 섞여. Rap monster, 말투는 같이 무슨 비트는 가내가 싹지 못 삼켜. 정실한 이름값 얘들아 이리 와 이리 와. 난 알고래 반전 하하. 무신분이 형들은 풀 가능하다. Edgy boy, 똑똑히 boy. 거리 파서버려 마치 벽치고 안 파서볼 다 이제 되니 boy. Everywhere I go, everything I do. 난 보여줄게 칼을 갈아왔던 만큼. 날 무시하던 많은 사람들 이젠
You can hear the
we
vocal
post-
tones being a little bit thinner
Yes.
too, like that, more of that youthful, like, mid to late teen, even early 20s. That the vocal tone tends to be a little bit thinner, and then as they age, just with all of us, the maturity, the shape and size of the larynx. So you can hear the youthful quality, not just see it, but hear it in their voice. So
I was so interested in what you would say about Jin's voice here, because I listened to their recent music much more before I came to this. And I heard Jin, I was like, oh, that's not the Jin's voice that I know. And it's so interesting to hear it, because To me, it also sounds a little bit awkward, like he hasn't found his voice yet, like his natural tone. And
So
they
how
actually
old is he at
perform
this
song
point?
again. He's 20, just 20, I think, at this point.
Yeah. That's still pretty young as far as like defining a style and a consistency of vocal tone. So that makes sense.
A few years later, I think, like, was it 6 or 7 years later, they actually performed this song again. Listening to the difference between them performing their debut song at debut and when they have really matured as performers, it's so interesting to compare them, and I hope you'll do that at some point.
I think we're basically signed up to listen to everything.
For yes.
Every version.
I was going to add too that, I mean, we've worked with artists where, you know, they're like 15 or 16 and they're a little more developed, and then we listen to them singing like even 3 years prior, and it's like almost a different person. It's like a completely different voice. Like, how did you get from there to there so quickly?
Like Sarah said, they have had like an evolution pretty much, but in the initial period before the producers knew how to use their voices and they didn't quite know how to use their own voices, what suited them.
Sure.
All of the members did the same thing. Everybody was a rapper, basically. It was one way of starting. So, and that's great, but watching them do this now, where I'm used to Taehyung doing, which is V, mostly his voice is so suited for ballads that when you hear him do stuff like this, which is so hard and angular, it's a bit jarring. It's like, I don't know this singer. Like, this is not what he excels at. Like, he's
replaced
splendid,
V?
but
There's an evolution with every label that goes through that. They might sign somebody because they see potential in one direction, and they could pivot dramatically based on to see how they really take in different styles or directions or influences musically. So it is a process that is definitely unpredictable.
Yeah, you're kind of just going blind in the beginning. Actually, that's really, really apparent with like some of my favorite TV shows. When you go back to like the first season of every show that I love, it's like, this is like a different show, and they're
that
just like
first
they're just trying
episode
stuff
is
out.
like, no, that's not what they would say or do. Yeah.
just about Jin, we all know, like, fans, armies, we know how hard he's worked on his craft. Dancing, yes, but also his vocals. Like, he's known as Silver Voice Jin now, but in the initial period, he got like a lot of pushback because people couldn't figure out what he would sound best at, and like there was the potential, but he joined. I think he was one of the last ones to join, right, Sarah?
No,
And
he wasn't.
No?
He was one of the
Wait, what?
earliest. So this is
Sorry,
okay.
he's one of the oldest. Sorry.
But also, this is really important actually, because Jin coming in is actually a turning point for what Big Hit and Bang PD imagined for this group that he had put together. Because the initial group lineup was the 3 rappers, and you know there were some other rappers who didn't remain part of the group.
So this was the start of the potential vocal line.
This was the
essentially.
pivot to Idol, exactly. This is when, so, you know, Bang PD has this really interesting capacity to analyze market trends, which lately has not quite been what we agree with. But at that time, he made a good read on this, which was that the hard hip hop that he really wanted to do with BTS was not necessarily going to be the most marketable music, and idol music was where it was at. And this is, you know, this typical the dancing, the singing, the rapping, that full package of everything. So Jin was brought in to begin that shift to the idol aspect.
He had acting aspirations, so he didn't know that this is where he was going to go. This was all completely new to him, and he was very aware that he was like slightly older when he started down this line, right? Like training his
He was 18,
vocals.
I think, when he was scouted.
Yeah.
That's a late start for
yeah.
pop market at
And
all. Yeah.
Which is why you could hear the potential in his voice, but it still wasn't there. He hadn't had enough time to train his voice to go where it could go. So he needed several more years. And until that happened, he got, his voice wasn't, we think now in retrospect, his voice wasn't used in the best way possible in the initial years. And once they figured out what suited him the best, that's when you get the best Jin songs.
Right. And
And this
while
is-
he was actually developing it too, because I'm sure he wasn't
Right.
able to even demonstrate what he was best at that time. So
Right.
Yeah,
But
in
and
the
he's become
early
the
music-
silver voice, right? That's what he's known as now.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that's wild.
In their early music, he doesn't even have a lot of lines. Like, he'll get like 2 or 3 lines per song. If he's lucky, if we're lucky. And then as time goes on and he really develops that vocal ability, that's when you start getting, these amazing masterpieces like Epiphany
Oh,
and The
yeah.
Astronaut. And
Well, when I started this channel, it was originally just going to be me reacting to things, but I needed my worldwide handsome, so I brought Johnny in. It turns out he could play piano, so so it all worked out.
No.
All right, let's keep going.
That's
Let's keep
not
going.
Shout it out. 나같이 해봤다면 돌을 던져. We go hard, 우리 겁이 없어. Click, click, bang, bang. We just sing it like. Click, click, bang, bang. We just sing it like. 나같이 해봤다면 돌을 던져. We go hard, 우리 겁이 없어. Click, click, bang, bang. We just sing it like. Click, click, bang, bang. We just sing it like. 1인 내놔. 긴장했다. 급한대자. We are bulletproof. We are bulletproof.
So much attitude. Nice.
whenever I see Jimin come up when he's in the center position here, it just makes me laugh because if you, in your future journeys, you will at some point come across them reacting to themselves in this. So like 7 years later,
That's got
I
to be a
think.
blast.
Yeah, M Countdown makes them rewatch their debut performance, and Jimin is just like rolling in embarrassment because he's like, he's like flexing his muscles and he's like, I'm all that, and he is, but he's just mortified, and it's
I love
so
it.
funny. It's
Yeah, there's
just
definitely-
hilarious.
There's definitely more of like a manufactured vibe that I'm getting from this stuff. Nowadays, like more recent times, they're just more natural to what they are. I mean, everything's still like thought out, and there's a marketing plan behind it all. But it's like, I feel like they're being themselves now within that context. And
Yeah.
that
This
but when they're starting out,
was-
it's just like this is what the label wants.
Yes.
But also, think of it as this is style without their personality. Now it's style with their personality. Or
Exactly.
that-
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
The other thing I want you to notice is this is the dance break of this song is like the centerpiece of the performance.
Okay.
And so you have the 3 dance line members, Jungkook, J-Hope, Jimin, each like taking the center position and doing their own performance. They choreographed their own parts here.
Oh, nice.
And also,
That's cool.
a really interesting thing that you won't be able to notice because it's not very well lit here is watch what happens to the mic. Like, when they're each doing their center performance, they don't have any mics in their hand. Where did the mics go? This is a very, an elaborate thing that BTS does amazingly, the mic handoffs.
Oh,
So sometimes you'll find videos of people
they,
doing
they mix it into the
analysis.
choreography then.
Right.
Even those movements are tight. I mean, they put the hours in for this, even at this
Do
point.
you know?
This is Big Kid exclusive.
Can you pause
The
for 1
coolest
second?
kid in the world. Woo! BTS.
So,
Look
you
it
know what
up.
you're saying about how in sync they are?
Yeah.
Again, this is something that they did to such an extreme level that, Bang PD would literally go through their dance practice videos frame by frame to make
Wow.
sure that they were all in frame by frame sync.
They put in the work. It's incredibly obvious in everything that they're doing. But even for a first showcase, it's super tight.
And the height of their jumps are exactly equal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow.
둘, 셋.
안녕하세요, 방탄소년단입니다.
안녕하세요. 방탄의 막내 정국입니다. 나이는 17이고요. 팀에서 춤, 노래를 담당하고 있습니다. 안녕하세요. 제이홉입니다. 나이는 20살이고 팀에서 랩, 춤, 노래를 담당하고 있고요. 이름처럼 희망적인 존재입니다.
안녕하세요. 지민입니다. 나이는 19이고요. 팀에서 춤과 보컬을 맡고 있습니다.
안녕하세요. V입니다. 나이는 19살이고요. 방탄에서 보컬을 맡고 있습니다.
안녕하세요, 랩몬스터입니다. 20살의 리더고요.
랩 몬스터.
팀에서 랩을 하고 있습니다.
안녕하세요. 슈가입니다. 나이는 21살이고요. 팀에서 랩을 맡고 있습니다.
안녕하세요. 방탄소년단의 마티형 진입니다. 나이는 22살이고 팀에서 보컬을 맡고 있습니다.
야만 내 꿈은 뭐래 야만 내 꿈은 뭐래
방탄소년단은 힙합 그룹입니다. 지금 가요계에 수많은 힙합을 표방하고 나온 아이돌이 많지만 저희들은 정말 리얼 정통 힙합 아이돌, 힙합을 정말 잘하고 정말 즐기고 정말 잘하는 팀이 될 것이 저희 목표입니다. 네, We Are Bulletproof 파트 2는 2010년에 저희 자작곡 We Are Bulletproof 파트 1의 연장선상에 있는 곡인데요. We Are Bulletproof 파트 1 같은 경우는 저희들이 연습생 기간에 우리가 짱이야 이런 패기로만 뭉쳐있던 그런 곡이었습니다. 근데 이 파트 2는 거기에 비해서 3년이 지난 저희가 정말 피땀이 서린 그런 곡이라고 할 수 있습니다.
네, 노멀 드림은요 저희의 타이틀곡입니다. 일단 90년대에 굉장히 유행하던 갱스터 랩을 2013년의 감성에 맞게 재구성을 한 곡이고요. 또 아마 처음 들으시는 분들은 아마 닥터 드레의 딥 커버와 같은 노래의 느낌을 받으실 수 있을 것 같습니다. 또 이제 막연한 청소년 시절을 보내고 있는 청소년들에게 네 꿈이 뭐니라고 묻고 있는 그런 노래입니다. 저희의 단기 계획은요 일단 이 수많은 신인들 중에서 꼭 신인상을 한번 타보는 것이고요. 왜냐면 신인상은 신인 때밖에 탈 수 없으니까 꼭 한번 타보고 싶습니다. 그리고 저희는 정말 힙합 팀으로 나온 만큼 사람들이 이제 힙합 그룹, 힙합 아이돌 하면 방탄소년단을 떠올릴 수 있게 그런 방탄소년단이 되고 싶습니다.
I hope they accomplish their dream. I hope they make it. Those young kids.
It's funny because if that was my only impression of them, that the hip hop presentation, I wouldn't have gone down the rabbit hole at all because it's just not something I relate to. So the fact that we came in as late as we did is perfect, right? It's the timing in my life, speaking for myself, for when this showed up through recommendations online was just pretty cool because I never would have gotten into them and appreciated what they're doing otherwise. So
even watching this, it's like, yeah, it's like where they got to from the starting point is like a completely different place. But you can tell, like, even at that early stage, it's like they're very poised. I mean, they're like really good at what they do. And you can see the potential of where they ended up flowering to.
Yeah. And what's the name of this one?
No More Dream. This is the title track, their very first single release.
Okay, cool.
With the mini album.
I love this bass line, very jazzy.
Yeah, it is.
Big house, big cars and big rings. 너 사실은 I don't have any big dreams. 난 참 편하게 살아. 꿈 따위 않고도 아무도 못 알아잖아. 전부 다 똑같이 나처럼 생각하고 있어. 생각 까먹게 꿈마던 어린 시절. 왜 하긴 걱정 마 머리라도 갈 거니까. 알았어 엄마 지금 독서 시간이라니까. 네 모습이 뭐야 지금 네 거울 속에 누가 보여. I gotta say 너의 길을 가라고 단 하루를 살아도 뭐라도 하라고 나약함은 담아. 왜 말 못하고 있어 공부는 하기 싫으면서 학교 때려치기는 겁나지. 이거 봐 등과 준비하네 벌써. 설정들은 제발 좀 너희만 살아가지고 유리 멘탈 보이. Stop 자신에게 물어봐 언제 네가 열심히 노력했냐고.
That's cool.
야만 내 꿈은 뭐래 야만 내 꿈은 뭐래 네 꿈은 그거래
거짓말이야 Such a liar 심이야 비슷한 차이야 왜 자꾸 딴 길을 가래 야 너나 잘해 제발 강요하지 말아줘 라라라라라
내 꿈의 머리 내 꿈의 머리
Make money.
고작
It's a cool song. I agree. I like the bass line right away that just continues through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It actually sounds like a Miles Davis song. Like the way it starts out, it's really cool.
There's such an aggressive tone with the singers in their style. Of course, we've heard that continue to develop even more with Suga specifically, but we hear it with J-Hope and we hear it with RM, of course. Those different textures, the disturbances in the voice, but it's very strategically placed. I can hear now not just the finesse of that's not the right word, the degree of how often and how much overtones, distortion they put into their voice now is so much more, I think, affluent with the lyrics and the production of the song and everything. Here you can hear a little bit more of like, okay, I'm supposed to give attitude. I'm gonna add it a little bit to everything, but it's not always exactly where maybe the best version would be. I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong, when they do this song now, it has more clear tone mixed in. It's a little bit more stylized in a way of like, so when it is gritty, it's like really well placed. So here you can hear they're just like throwing everything at it because they haven't built that trust yet. But I mean, it's still well done, obviously.
And the other thing about
You
Jin
guys
is he's
really-
just a marshmallow.
What's that?
So Jin is just a marshmallow. Even when he tries to look hard, he looks like a marshmallow. And I say this because of how much I love him, in the loveliest way possible.
Oh, that's great. That's a fun song, though.
It
What is-
became
oh, go ahead,
their
Paroma.
anthem pretty much. It became their anthem pretty much. Like you have this song play as like their introductory song. Like if they're walking up on stages or just like general introduction in the background, it's always No More Dreams.
Oh, that's cool.
You have to watch a recent performance of this.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah.
You definitely want to. So what is the main concept in this? I'm reading the lyrics and sometimes the translation's a bit wonky. Like I'm getting like this sense of like, like if you have a dream, like not necessarily always going the conventional path and like kind of forging your own path, and if you have a dream, go for it. You don't have to necessarily do what everyone tells you is
Yeah.
the expected route.
So when BTS first debuted, they kind of quickly became the voice of the dissatisfied youth. I wouldn't say disenfranchised, because basically like youth who have a lot of pressures on them to find the right subject to study, the right college to get into, the right career to get into. But they didn't do it in a generic way. They really spoke to what people were going through, like whether you were in school or college, your first job. And this song is kind of where it all starts. So if you study the lyrics, they are not just telling you to find a new path. BTS consistently in the initial years spoke about how the path that was shown to the youth is stupid. Basically, it's destructive. It hurts them and it crushes their dreams.
Sure.
So it's a really I wouldn't say revolutionary, but because a lot of groups have similar themes in their songs, but the way they would speak through their lyrics was a little different. They wouldn't just be like, this is horribly hard, but you can get through it. They would be like, this is shit. Can I swear?
It's also worth contextualizing it in Korean academic culture, which is extremely, extremely intense. They would, a kid will go to school in the morning, and after school they'll go to another after-school academy where they do more studying. And often, middle school, high school kids won't get home until like midnight. And even though there were recently laws, and midnight is early, that's if you get home early, you're home at midnight.
A lot
Recently
of
there
these
was a law.
ones start at 11 and then go until 1, 2. Especially if it's exam phase, you don't go home. For months, you're stuck there. You study there,
So
sleep there,
they're
eat
study
there,
machines, basically. The kids are study machines, and it's, Korea has an incredibly high, I think it might even be the highest youth suicide rate in the world. It's a lot of pressure, and part of the concept of like 방탄소년단, the bulletproof idea, which by the way is a name that they were mocked for quite a long time and they themselves didn't like. But like Bang PT was like, this is what we're going to be called. But the explanation for that name is that like we will be like the bulletproof shields to protect the youth from like the oppression and prejudice of society. This is them trying to survive in that world. And the other thing that BTS have always done, and was their concept from the start, is that they speak to the experiences of people their age. And that's why, you know, people kind of age with them. They go through that those periods of their lives together.
So it's so much more in depth than the concept of just being rebellious, which a lot of hip-hop groups were.
It's like, what is the meaning of all of this intense study? Like, what is it doing for you? What, so you can be a government civil servant and, you know, be depressed, and that's it. Now, there's nothing better in life.
And that level of pressure that they put on themselves because of that cultural expectation, they poured into their artistry, which is why they're as good as they are, but they did it following something they were passionate about, as opposed to just being told what to do, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that gives a huge insight as to why people have resonated so much with them. You know, other than the fact that they're just good looking and talented and they have catchy songs, it's like there's something really, there's a depth there that people are really like connecting to, and that makes sense that they're as huge as they are.
There's also so much anger, and I feel like that's one of the things that I really related to when I first heard their music, like the rage. And Sugar especially is so good at like distilling that rage into his music, and it's
he's the rock star of the group in my eyes.
Yeah,
in that respect.
He's produced so many of these songs. It doesn't matter if you are looking at their hip hop, like the more rock inspired ones, or just, you know, the sweet ones, the sweet pop, all of that. He's produced everything. The man is a genius. He can create any kind of music and be equally good at all of them. So
yeah, that's pretty amazing.
So cool. All right, let's keep this rolling.
속에 누가 보여 I gotta say 너의 길을 가라 단 하루를 살아도 뭐라도 하라고 나약함은 담아줘
내 꿈은 뭐래 야만 내 꿈은 뭐래 야만 내 꿈은 뭐래 네 꿈은 그거래 거짓말이야 사철라이야 심이심이야 비싼 차이야 왜 자꾸 딴 길을 가래 야 너나 잘해 제발 강요하지 말아줘 살아가는 법을 몰라 날아가는 법을 몰라 결정하는 법을 몰라 이제 꿈꾸는 법도 몰라 노래 눈이 떠난다 이제 춤을 춰봤자 다시 꿈을 꿔봤다 너 꿈을 내지 마 춤을 내지 마 거짓말이야 사철라이야 심이심이야 비싼 차이야 왜 자꾸 딴 길을 가래 야 너나 잘해 제발 강요하지 말아줘
Who's doing the
Jimin?
Probably Jimin, right?
So that's all
'Cause he's got
Jimin
the
right
higher
there.
voice?
Yeah. So that was pointed out earlier that typically he's going to have the higher
falsetto
parts.
head voice, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a cool intensity there. I was wondering if it was him or, well, we knew it wasn't Jin just because of what we were talking about earlier. There's still kind of a development there, but it could have been Jungkook too. So I wasn't sure. Yeah, who's jumping in on that?
To all the youngsters without dreams.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Cool. Great
First
choice.
showcase. So it is wild to see this after watching the MMA 2019s and it's not just stage growth and everything. Obviously that was there, but just truly their vocal delivery, their trust in the relationships with each other and individually, even in their dance progression and everything. Not that I can call out the nuance changes because I don't have a background in dance, but you can just sense the evolution as a whole, just kind of drinking that in. It's really cool to see that.
Yeah, I just always think it's so cool to go back and sort of see the, I don't know what the word is, more of the clumsy beginnings to some of these things. Not the characterized as clumsy, but it's like, obviously it's not where it ended up. But I love going back, if for nothing else, but to gain more of an appreciation for where they're at now. And it's like, wow, it's
they didn't just level off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing this video. It really is the perfect video.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah,
because we wanted to go back to the very first album, and this Too Cool for School wasn't even a full-length album, which is common, I think, for an introduction of a new artist, so that kind of makes sense.
BTS has eras. Like, we all have our favorite era of BTS. So every couple of years when they do this big launch, everything seems to change. Like, themes change, the kind of music changes, and it's like everything from production, like visual production to audio seems to be completely different.
It's going to be really interesting to see when they come back from the military what that era is going to look like.
Are you going to be able to do a reaction to like the Busan concert, which just dropped on Prime?
What is it?
Because that is the yet to come in Busan. It was the free concert that they gave. It was their last group concert before they dispersed. And like the next day, Jin announced he was going off to military. And
Paroma is literally over there praying that we do.
Yeah, like it's so epic.
If you could just watch like one performance in the Busan performance, because it is a pretty long concert. Run BTS, please.
Run BTS, so epic.
It's oh my god, like that performance, we obsessed
but, like,
over
mic
it
drop
for
straight
months.
into Run BTS. The opening like triptych of mic drop, Run BTS, and Run, they did that like back to back, and it's amazing.
See, this is the challenge because everybody's so convincing as to what we should do next.
I know. There's so
I also want to say I can't wait until you do Jump, and like Roaring V is my favorite V, and Jump V is the most epic.
And our number one comment request right now is the single from Jungkook's album that just got released, and we just said we're going to go back to the beginning, and everybody just wait, before you do that, go listen to this, and like we never know what to do next.
Do everything.
We're getting there.
Do it all. Yeah.
We will all over the place.
We'll try to get everything. It might take us a little while, but this video is definitely like an essential piece of the story, the whole overall story. This was such a good choice. Yeah.
If I can make one last pitch for the Busan concert.
Okay.
Just as you watching the debut, you could see how manufactured it was, as in like external forces came and gave them like the visuals. Like, I mean, the members had their own ideas. They worked really hard on their own choreographies and all of that stuff. But essentially, in large parts, it was other people creating this, right? The Busan concert is completely their own. So much so, there is so much drama that happened around that concert. It nearly didn't happen until they took it upon themselves to make it happen. So many of their performances are exactly as they wanted, yes. But there is something special about the Busan concert. And to go from watching this, the debut, to watching the Busan concert, which is their final concert together.
Do it. Yeah, that's what you need to do. Like, blow your minds. Give yourself that opportunity.
Johnny, we have no control over this rabbit hole.
I don't think so. I mean, eventually we're going to have to quit our day jobs and just dedicate all of our time to watching all this stuff.
I do want to say that your channel is actually like so refreshing among the ocean of BTS reactors, which I actually had given up on. There are a lot of channels that would do a reaction and I don't feel that they add any value to it. And so I'd given up on them. Like when they come up, I'd block them in my feed. And then you came up one day with like Jin, Epiphany. I mean, you can always get me with Jin. You can always get me with Epiphany. So I was like, fine, I'll give them a chance. He says he's a vocal coach. Okay, let's see. And because I've watched those before too.
I don't think he is.
Yeah. But yeah, what I really love is being able to learn something new. Because I don't know anything about music or music theory. Like my observations about their music is like what I personally think. And I am generally approaching it from a storytelling point of view as a writer and all of those things.
Which is, I mean, that's what what music is, though. You don't have to understand it to fully appreciate
But
it.
I love to understand it because I'm a nerd. So thank you for that. We really do
Oh, you're welcome.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you haven't already, be sure to go to throga.com/react, where you can join our exclusive video subscript. What is the title of this, Johnny? Can I shorten this somehow?
I don't
Try
know.
really fast.
Pause for dramatic effect. So
Oh, we're
go
doing
to
so
the
well.
page, join the email list, and we will let you know when our next contest begins. And then you can join us just like our lovely guest today, where you can pick any song from any artist.
How lucky did we get on our winner today? I mean,
Yes,
we couldn't have asked for
thank
two
you.
better
Well, you were
guests.
so informed. You emailed me saying you were staying up studying for this. You didn't have to study, but I love that you did.
She said she's a nerd.
I know.
Nerds like to study.
We have to study.
Yes.
If we don't study, we can't survive.
Oh, I love it. I love it. No, this was perfect. Thank you both for joining us and sharing your wisdom and insights and making it more confusing for us to know which video to do next.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for
Spoiled
having
for
us.
choices. That's not a bad place to be.
It's not.
But that is it for today. Thank you both for joining us. This was amazing, and
Thank
we
you
look
guys
forward
so
to
much.
doing our next contest. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the...
Bing. Bell.
I didn't want to steal your entire line, but at least give you a bell. You're not here just to be beautiful, Johnny. You have to
Oh my
contribute
gosh.
too.
Oh, I guess.
All right, bye everyone. Thanks for
All
watching.
right, see you guys.
Bye. Thank you for having us.